Bound for Glory, one of the biggest Impact pay-per-views of the year, is tomorrow night, and a big former WWE superstar seems to be locked in to make his debut tomorrow. We're also going to talk about King Xavier Woods and his reaction to becoming king of the ring and what happened immediately after he had walked through that curtain as king. And we got some spoilers in regards to some of the top draft picks for SmackDown. Here is your Freestyle Friday edition of The Top Story.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Happy Friday, everybody. Jeremy here, rolling solo right now. You can find me on the Twitter at JB Huskers. We are got a lot to talk about here today. It's the eve of Bound for Glory, Impact Wrestling, teasing a lot of superstars coming in and making their debut, much like last year. You know, you got Heath, you got a couple years ago, I think it was, or maybe last year, the Good Brothers. Always some WWE free agents making a mark there. It may be more than just Braun Strowman, but that's going to be our lead today because it seems to be almost inevitable that Braun Strowman is going to show up on the pay-per-view tomorrow. Like Kev Kellum says, share the link or you stink. Share it with your friends. Join into the conversation. Give us some emojis. Give us your reactions to what's going on. Let's have a little fun here on Friday, this Friday edition. Make sure to ask your questions too, Freestyle Friday. So ask any question that you want answered in the chat here, and we will answer it for you. But first, let's talk about that big story of the day. Braun Strowman, now known as Adam Scherr. Who knows what he's going to be called in the next stop, but it has been reported by PW Insider that the former world champion Braun Strowman is going to be making his debut tomorrow at Bound for Glory. Of course, big pay-per-view. The big main event is Josh Alexander cashing in his option C to face Christian Cage for the Impact World title. You kind of wonder if maybe this is where he steps in. Who knows? But PW Insider says that that Adam Scherr, formerly known as Braun Strowman, is going to be signing a contract with Impact Wrestling and will make his debut tomorrow night at Bound for Glory. Scherr was spotted flying from Chicago to Las Vegas early Friday morning. Of course, Las Vegas, Sam's Town, is where the pay-per-view will be taking place tomorrow night. It sounds like that he will be Scherr will be using the name The Titan going forward, and that's either going to be a nickname or a ring name. So it could be The Titan Adam Scherr or just simply The Titan. We will not know exactly what's going on there, probably until he makes his debut. But very interesting to see. You know, obviously it's always been a Bound for Glory last year was always a tease with who's going to show up from the WWE. I mean, there's been rumors that maybe Buddy Murphy might be showing up on this pay-per-view as well. It may not just be Braun Strowman making the debut. So it plans to be a very explosive night for Impact Wrestling. So let us know where you're watching the show from. Get in the chat there. Looks like we've got a Maple Leafs fan, Kevin, in the chat there. Let us know where you're watching the show from. And as always, subscribe to us here on either our YouTube or, also follow us on Facebook as well, where we got lots of great stuff coming to you tonight. Smack Talk, of course, with Rick Ucchino, SP3, and Dirty Dutch Mantel coming at you after SmackDown and Rampage tonight. Of course, Mondays, we got Legion of Raw with Chris Featherstone and Vince Russo. Get the bros ready for Monday night. And on Wednesday, you got the debrief with Jose G and Rico, and break everything down from NXT and AEW's Dynamite on that show as well. So let us know in the chat. Are you excited? Are you excited for Braun Strowman to make his Impact debut tomorrow night, or did you want to see him maybe show up elsewhere? You know, right here, Aaron in the chat likes Impact, third best show. Likes NXT 2.0 as well. I like 2.0 as well. I don't, I'm one of those guys that loved the original NXT, obviously. It brought together just some great matches. But, I was really skeptical what 2.0 was going to bring. and was pretty happy to find out. I'm very entertained with 2.0. Not everything is really a big hit that they do, but I'm enjoying it. So I feel like it's a very good show that they're switching over. Hey, what's up?
What's up, bud? How are you, bud?
Joining us. Looks like your microphone might be on the wrong one there. Fix that up real quick. But Impact has been, in my opinion, at least over the past 2 years, has been very solid. It's been comparable to Monday Night Raw as well. So, I think it's been a good program. And shout out to everybody tuning in. Look at this, all around Bartow, Florida, Slocum, Alabama, Lexington, Kentucky, Springville, New York, Montana. Glad to have you guys with us. And Eric, you are correct. Impact is gaining momentum. I just wish they were on a different television station because Access TV is not very widely regarded, widely available for people. So, I went from Spectrum cable to YouTube TV, so I lost the ability to have access. So I've been trying out the kind of the Impact for $1 a month deal on YouTube, where you can watch the show. Literally, I think it's about a half an hour. They stream it live about a half an hour after it actually goes live on Thursdays. So thanks to everybody joining in. Look at Syracuse, got Kansas, which right below me. I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska, so right below me there. Texas,
Nebraska, if you ask you.
I
gotta sneak in the stuff.
Gotta sneak it in there. Get your shizzing it in.
Thanks
there.
For getting
Kevin.
ahead of me here too. I have my microphone, my entire mic rig fell.
Oh no!
So I've been dealing with that for the last half an hour.
I was a buddy of mine was doing karaoke on Wednesday, and this drunk group of 21-year-old women were there celebrating a 21-year-old birthday.
Did they break the mic?
They tripped on some cords, and the rig fell. Yeah. I think everything was okay.
Like, mine is just the arm, and then I had to put it in and change my sound settings. That's what cost me the last 10.
It was like a box. It was like the mixer box base. Well, not really the box, because he did the mixer on a tablet, but a box fell and made a lot of noise.
Imagine when they slam someone at the ringside and then the sparks go flying.
Oh man, right? Yeah,
mine wasn't that bad here.
We're talking about Adam Scherr, Kev. PW Insider basically all but confirming he's signing with Impact Wrestling and could show up tomorrow at Bound for Glory.
Things been going this way, though. I mean,
it has been.
It's all been pointing in this direction, and he just did that project with his buddy EC3. They're friends. They did the Free the Narrative, solo shot special, which is a lot of what Impact offers. Yeah. Similar to, you get outside of the WWE system, you get to have a lot more creative control over what you're doing. And that is the offer. And then you work within the WWE system and you get the benefits of WWE's production power, but not the creative freedom. You offer some certain things up, what you're certainly going to get paid more money.
Yeah.
WWE.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But I also think, this is a guy who's pretty successful the past couple of years. I like that he's still involved in wrestling. I like that he's a larger-than-life character who still loves the art form. And I do think at some point, even though the reasoning behind him being let go apparently was, well, you're getting paid this. Shout out Belvedere, Illinois. Listen to me on 104.9 The X. Shout out, dude. Shout it out. Go win those WWE Rockford tickets, by the way, December 18th at the BMO Harris Bank Center. We're gonna have those tickets at the xrockford.com. Sorry. I saw Belvedere, Illinois. I had to do that. But no, I think it's just good. I mean, this is a guy who's larger than life, loves pro wrestling, should be on TV. Yeah, and still has many good years left in him. Though the reasoning apparently by his WWE release was, oh, you're getting on the older side, we're paying you X. Yeah, we're coming through and we're making big budget cuts. I still think he'll wrestle for WWE again at some point, though, too. Maybe,
yeah. And an article just came out. I don't know if we talked about it yesterday or what, but an article had come out where he wants to be where he can split time between wrestling and side projects, and obviously Impact allows for that because they basically tape everything in a month, and then you get the rest of the month off, or you tape 2 days and you're off for the rest of the month, or depends on how much they tape. But that's typically this, and that's what they're going to do here. Is they're going to tape for 2 days after Bound for Glory on Sunday and Monday, and that's basically going to be your TV for the month, and they don't do live shows or anything else like that, so then he's free to do whatever else he wants to do from there. Hey, good to see some Nebraskans in here. I got Gering, Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, Good to see that. We got the nation's capital in the house too. Thank you for joining us on this Freestyle Friday. As we always do on Freestyle Friday, get your questions in. We will answer them. Kev and I, Freestyle Friday. We got a couple more stories.
What do you do with him in Impact?
I don't.
Scherr shows up. The Titan shows up. Is it just the big man from WWE is here and he's going to come in the ring and wreck people and clear the ring? How do you introduce him?
I don't know. I maybe have him stare down Josh Alexander at the very end and just shoot him right at the top. Maybe other options could be you got your Call of Your Shot gauntlet match. There's still 15 people not announced for that. You could put him into that. Man, imagine W. Morrissey, Big Cass, standing in the ring, and then Adam Scherr's music hits, and you got those two behemoths staring each other down at the Call Your Shot gauntlet match. I think that would be my spot to put him in, to be honest, rather than at the main event. I think that would be fun. You have 15 people that aren't announced for this yet. You only have Rich Swann, Brian Myers, Moose, W. Morrissey, and Chris Sabin. So you still have 15 other guys for that gauntlet match. I think that's a perfect place to put him in. Word is Buddy Murphy might be showing up tomorrow too, so they might put him in that spot too. That might be where you see a lot of those
Buddy
surprises.
Murphy confirmed already a relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, so he is now out of WWE. He has a future. Buddy Matthews. We have to start saying that now.
Yeah, right. We gotta get used to that.
So I'm of the thought where, a battle royal is the perfect thing for him to come in. Just give him a bunch of bumping feet, boys. Get in there. Everybody run into that big man. He's going to throw you over the top rope. It makes sense, and he's done that before effectively, and it looks impressive. And he's a guy who could literally go in there and flip the ring upside down if he wanted to. He could literally pick the ring up by the hinge and knock it over if he wanted to. He'll do some big things there. And I also think if you want to do the pre-shot vignette stuff, the stunty, wild things that he got to do for a long time at the height of his run in WWE, the place to do it is over there.
Yeah, very much so. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out of tomorrow night, and we will any kind of fallout from that, any kind of backstage news, we will let you know on Monday's edition of Top Story for sure. Let's move on to the second story of the evening. Of course, one of the great moments of Crown Jewel yesterday afternoon was King Xavier Woods, and of course, Xavier Woods interviewed by the New York Post today on winning King of the Ring. He said, I feel royal. I can tell you that. On a real note, this is what I cared about in wrestling. This is the first thing I ever wanted. This is the only thing I ever wanted. So obviously we're going to use this King situation to take over WWE and gain as much control as humanly possible. As you saw, as he was directing the cameras hilariously after he was
crowning the shots.
He was firing Kevin Dunn right on the spot so he could take over. He goes, but as a kid, this is what I obsessed with. It was so cool to be a part of the tournament because every match matters. He even, I know he stated going into this, he was very driven by the fact that he was left out of the 2019 King of the Ring tournament. And so he was, that's where he decided to become driven to be a better star, to set himself apart and get in the tournament. And now look, he's won it. And, it meant so much to him. And he also shared, fact that he was met with a big bear hug from Big E as he went back into Gorilla, because Big E's match with Drew McIntyre followed his King of the Ring victory. So I thought that was pretty cool. He wishes Kofi was there, but he didn't make the trip, but he'll see him very soon. He said the other guy that he wishes was there to celebrate with him was Tyler Breeze, of course, a big part of his Up, Up, Down, Down YouTube channel.
We have Justin in Kennedale, Texas, texting in saying Xavier deserved it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
King Doe, from one king to another, says Happy Corbin impersonates other wrestlers every week on SmackDown. Well, Happy Corbin no longer the king. You got a new king. It's going to be indeed King Xavier. And they did not say King Woods. They said King Xavier, which sounds a lot more royal. King Xavier sounds a lot more royal. It pops.
It does. They're not backed by tonight already, are they?
Well, the SmackDown crew has to be, the SmackDown crew has to be back in the United States by
tonight. So those guys are going to be on that show then, huh? Wow. What a night.
It's a travel day, dude.
What a night.
That is a turnover travel day indeed. You almost wish you were doing that SmackDown maybe an hour or two away, somewhere in Europe or something, or at least one flight away.
Yeah.
A transcontinental flight like you're gonna have there.
Yeah.
Other people commenting on big things coming out of the show. If you haven't checked it out, we have a big review. It is up on our YouTube. It is up on our podcast channel as well. We really covered everything on that show. Despite all these socio-political things that come with doing a show in Saudi Arabia, which that happens. Those hang over the entire thing. I think this is probably, as we described yesterday, probably one of the best shows they've done this year, and top to bottom in terms of satisfaction and in the ring and what happens. And hopefully we get some big things out of it here. Shout out to Justin in Indiana. A lot of different talk on what's going to happen here. People chiming in here saying Woods finally stepping out of Kofi and Big E's shadow.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
So how are they going to treat him? What is he going to do? Does he have royal decrees? Royal decrees.
It's going to be entertaining. I will guarantee you that. A lot of people are like, oh, is he going to turn heel on Kofi? No, I don't think so. But they're going to have a lot of fun with it. And I mean, this is something he's wanted his whole life. This is not no BS story. I mean, he's been wanting this as a kid to be a king of the ring. Watching Harley Race win it, watching Triple H, watching Stone Cold Steve Austin. By the way, I just got my shirt from WWE Shop, Kev. The where Doc Hendricks interviewing Steve Austin. I got that shirt from the shop. Yeah, there you go. Hogan.
You'll change your questions. I change the answers.
We got one more story, but hey, as right here in the chat right there, get your questions ready. It is almost Freestyle Friday. We are going to answer your Freestyle Friday questions, but we got one more tidbit of news, and it's right ahead of SmackDown, which is set to kick off here in about 45 minutes. PW Insider has provided some insider details regarding some of the recent draftees and such from SmackDown. Some of the plans tonight. Word is they're going to make Top Dollar AJ Francis a single star, where he was teaming with Ashante the Adonis. And while they're going to make Ashante and Isaiah Swerve Scott a tag team. What do you think about that, Kev?
Top Dollar certainly moved the needle a little bit recently with the rap videos he did, and took shots at AEW. And mind you, they took shots at him, and I don't even know who started. I don't even think it's important, but it shows a moment. You stood yourself out from the pack. Go and make yourself famous. Go and do your own thing. Go and take your role, make the most out of it, and push the needle. Right?
Yeah.
Play the hell out of the position you're given. This is what the guy did.
Yeah.
He didn't get to wrestle a whole lot in his time in NXT, but certainly came off like a personality, came in with an athletic background in the WWE. But we haven't really seen the guy, work a lot as a pro wrestler,
And, and we all know Vince is not a big fan of the smaller wrestler. So even though Swerve is probably the most polished of all the three of them, he probably sees the most out of Top Dollar. Plus, I think if you put Swerve in a tag team, it may allow him to grow and get the trust of Vince eventually, where, much like, a Montez Ford is probably going to do here eventually.
And everyone's immediately saying like, oh, they're just pushing the big guy. Being in a tag team on the most watched wrestling TV show means, guess what? You're going to get a lot of guaranteed TV time.
Yeah.
They're not slouches on SmackDown on featuring their tag teams. They're not. Because the Usos are such a big part of that show. You're always going to need fresh top teams to go with the Usos. Yeah. The Usos are the proverbial Roman Reigns of tag teams right now in WWE. That is not a bad position to be in. Tag team matches on Fridays have been for a long time now, years now, have been featured prominently, much more than they would on Raw. And to the point where sometimes they even headline and close the show, especially because they're tied to Roman Reigns. If they can do something where Reigns is at ringside, they can main event with the Usos. You can main event with Jey Uso. You can do those different things.
Yeah.
So, and you also have a team that can come in and do some things that the Usos have done. They've done some battle rap stuff with the New Day before. You can do that with Hit Row. But is Top Dollar the guy who's going to step up to Roman Reigns? I don't know if that's exactly the case. I know a lot of people said Isaiah Swerve Scott came into WWE. He had a lot more pedigree on him. He was the independent wrestling darling. He had wrestled all over. Why not go with him? Why not go with him? I don't think this is a demotion. You're going to be on the most watched wrestling show in the world. This is a complete promotion for them right away as an act. And they didn't get to really make their mark in NXT. WWE just really liked him and wants to run with him.
Yeah, and Michael, what do you think of Crown Jewel? We'll talk about that in just a minute, but let's finish up the story. PW Insider does confirm they will still be a group, so don't worry. Hit Row Records is still going to be a faction.
Which I think that's the relief. Like, you aren't breaking up the group already.
Some of the interesting thing, outside of Top Dollar being a single star, another more interesting things out of that story, of course, Tegan Knox and Shotzi Blackheart got split up, and word is Knox is going to be a babyface on Monday Night Raw. They're going to make Shotzi a heel on SmackDown. So that's going to be interesting. She has not worked heel yet on the promotion with NXT and everything like that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Shotzi as a heel. Xia Li expected to be a babyface on SmackDown, and Mia Yim, who we have not seen in forever, expected to be a babyface on Monday Night Raw. What do we think of Crown Jewel? I think we overall gave it a resounding thumbs up. I think Kev gave it an 8. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Go check our review on YouTube. We had a great discussion, nearly hour-long discussion, talking, breaking down every match, and we had a lot of fun with the show yesterday, didn't we, Kev?
Absolutely. It was a really, really fun show. Plus, we have our WWE International Trivia Challenge we can check it out as well. Go check it out. A lot of people joining us for that post show yesterday. We had hundreds of people with us live as well.
We almost made that a fatal, or almost made that a triple threat for the title coming up at the end of the year. But Jose ran out of steam and Rick pulled away on the International Trivia last night.
Spoiler, they went and watched it on demand. I dropped the link for our Crown Jewel post show, by the way. If you're with us in the live check, check that out.
Check that out. We got hey, you know what time it is? I got one more thing. There are plans. I didn't see the last paragraph there.
Get ready to blast us with those questions.
There are plans for a new tag team to join Raw, as there is talk of Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz officially being a team. So
that makes sense.
Yeah,
and Apollo has slid back down the card. He was on WrestleMania defending and winning the Intercontinental Championship off Big E, and got to feature in their own gimmick match. And Commander Aziz played a role in that and debuted. There is a big man revival in WWE, and so that's good for Aziz.
And you know who else is on Raw? Omos.
Oh, you can do Aziz and Omos. That'd be fun. That'd be just, you love the big man showdown. There's something special to that too.
You can, I mean, AJ and Omos have been flipping back and forth heel babyface since they've been a team. You could bring them back to the babyface side possibly, and have them feud with Aziz and Apollo. And I think the WWE universe would love that.
See where things go. Some slots are opening up, some new combinations, and WWE definitely needs that. When people are complaining about so many different rematches and stuff like that on TV, this is the time to do this. Shuffle the decks, man. Shuffle them up.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the freaking weekend, baby. We're about to have some fun. Freestyle Friday.
I don't know if you meant to do that. I don't know if you meant to sneak in those lyrics.
It just came to me, but it is time. Get your questions in, any and all questions. It's Friday. We don't have no time limits. This ain't no time limit draw. We got to get your questions in the chat so we can answer them. Let's go right off the top there. Glenn, yes or no, will Ridge Holland be the newest big thing for Heyman and betray the tribal chief? Why does everybody think Paul Heyman is going to betray the I mean,
he almost did.
No, that was right down the middle. He called it. He threw it right down
he threw the leather championship strap and title into the ring right between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. So that storyline continues a bit.
The difference between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns is when Paul Heyman is managing Roman Reigns, he is scared shitless 110% of the time. He did not act like that under Brock Lesnar. So I don't think he's turning on Reigns. It's going to be Reigns firing him whenever that ends up, I think.
We'll see here. Whether or not Ridge Holland plays a role in it, I don't know. That's just fantasy booking. Like we say, guys, don't ask us to confirm your fantasy booking. Asking whether or not your fantasy booking is going to happen on TV is not a question. Ask about what's going on. Is this thing that I want to happen in my head going to happen on TV? That's not a question.
Yeah.
Dominic Perez, is Shayna Baszler getting a push? I can see Shayna Baszler getting a push. I know everyone was upset that she didn't get to the finals of the Queen's Crown tournament, and she had a flash, fluke loss to Doudrop, considering that she had been, breaking people's arms for the past few months. and putting people on the injury shelf. I think she's gonna be all right. I think she's
Yeah.
gonna be just all right.
I think they finally started booking her back to the way they should have, with her just being a terror in that division, and losing that way to Doudrop might just make things worse for the women in that division. So I do fully expect a title run maybe sometime soon.
Eric following that up.
I was going in order. Sorry.
No, go ahead. We'll do the hit row one.
Yeah, I'm going in order. I'm just going in order here. So
that you see. Okay. Bianca goes, thoughts on Hit Row. I think they're an exciting group. I don't think they even really got to super establish themselves in NXT before they get the call up, but it's a matter of circumstance. You know, you need fresh talent. You get with this group, you get a combination of a veteran Swerve who's wrestled all of the big names that are now on television across the board. Everyone in AEW, everyone in WWE NXT that's come up in the last 5 years. Swerve has been in the ring with all of them.
Yeah.
He has a ton of experience. I think he could be, I'm going to say this. I think Swerve can become the new Randy Orton in terms of the high up near the top of the card, mechanic heel who can do a lot of dynamic things with promos, who's very, very calculated, but is a part of that new breed of talent that has cruiserweight momentum in everything he does in the ring. I think he can be a part of that. Now, the guys built around him, they benefit from that. They really, really benefit from that. They have a different look. They have a different feel. The fact that they can all legitimately go out there and do some form of hip hop if they want to do that, that makes everything they do feel different. That isn't just one guy coming out rapping. No, it's a group of people, which is different. They haven't done something like that. They've had like hip hop rap influenced characters for sure. But these guys are legitimate. Like they are legitimately from that. It looks genuine. It doesn't come off too forced, which no, you know, and so I like that.
It comes off real because they started doing vignettes as a group before you actually knew them as a group. They were literally doing vignettes in the studio because Swerve does produce music. And so they were starting things off before you even knew that they were going to be a group. They started things off in the studio, and it makes it seem more real for the audience. And to me, you know, I loved Hit Row ever since they made their debut in NXT. They've done a tremendous job, brought him up as heels, but everybody loved him. So they ended up making him a babyface, and then started a great feud with Legado del Fantasma. So I don't know if I don't know if now's the time to call them up, but they're up there now. So no turning back now. So it's gonna be exciting to see what they do tonight on SmackDown. Here we go. James in the chat. How are you going to handle these titles? Apparently, according to Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful Select, this is going to close the show tonight. What is expected to be a title exchange between Becky Lynch and Charlotte, which gets a lot of groans from people because they didn't like it when Street Profits and New Day did it last year. But if this is closing the show, I don't think we're going to have a simple, nice title exchange. How you do? I think we're going to get a title for title challenge. What do you think, Kev?
I think it could go down that way, or another one of the players that's involved that got cheated, like a Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, gets involved, and maybe we get something special at Survivor Series. You know, if they do a title unification match at Survivor Series with multiple players involved, I think it's a compelling scenario.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be that simple. I know everyone gets mad about that, but I'm like, well, I'm not opposed to it. What sports wise, it makes sense. It doesn't like not make sense. But everyone's like, oh, no one won it. But they're both champions. They're just exchanging titles. That's it. I don't see why sports wise that's like not logical.
I'm more of a fan of it working itself out in due time and have that champion on both shows until they lose that title. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like I'm more of
other options is what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm more of the fact of let's play it out in a storyline over the course of 2 to 3 months instead of switching it automatically.
Let's get some more questions here. What do we got?
Anthony in the chat, do you see Braun Strowman debuting tomorrow night at Bound for Glory? Is it going to be helping Sammy and Eddie, or do you think he partners up with Morrissey and Moose? Man, if he teams up with Morrissey and Moose, that is going to be a destructive trio that's going to completely run that gauntlet. And maybe he does for the time being until they get down to the final 3, and then maybe the Titan turns on those guys. But I don't know. I'm actually more for a showdown with Adam Scherr and Morrissey.
Yeah, I'd be a fan of him going one-on-one with somebody instead of being a part of the team. He comes in like a big star. Keep the spotlight on him. Keep it one-on-one. It's Bound for Glory's tomorrow, by the way, for people asking. We have another question here just related to, just so I don't jump off it. Is Braun, Adam Scherr's new name, the Titan? Yes. In some ways, he's been billed as Adam the Titan Scherr or just Adam Scherr, his real name.
Yeah.
My assumption is he will be wrestling under something fairly close to that. If unless Impact wants something different, so for licensing purposes or something like that.
Yep. I'm scrolling through here. Here we go. Here's one for Tuesday, Kev. How do you guys see Solo Sikoa debuting at Halloween Havoc next Tuesday? Do you see him attacking the winner of the championship match or coming in with a tag partner?
I don't think he's coming in with a tag partner. All of the promos, all the vignettes to tease him. He is the new member of the Anoa'i family to debut in WWE, that's Roman Reigns, that's The Rock, that's the Usos, that's Tamina Snuka, that's Afa and Sika. That's a ton of lineage.
Yeah.
And we have not seen much of this guy. We do know he's an athlete. We do know he comes in with a big background. But that prestige, come in, got to feature him solo at first, and then maybe find his way into a tag team or something like that and see where he goes. But putting a lot of pressure on this guy. Definitely. If you're internally and externally, people are going to expect a lot from him.
Are you disappointed that they're not using the Uso name with him?
Yeah, because he is the little brother of them, and this is Rikishi's son, to be specific in terms of where he plays.
Yeah.
Not exactly. No, I mean, because you can change it, and it's still, you still have a guy who has some own lineage, and he's still representing that. So I'm not too upset about it. No, because I mean, also like the more people learn about the Usos, they try and figure, their name is just the brothers. So is he going to be, solo brother, solo Uso?
Yeah.
And so
Solo Uso, that's quite the name.
Yeah.
Do you think Jeff Hardy will bring in Willow? I know he desires to bring Willow to the WWE or to if he goes somewhere else after his contract is up. Jeff wants to. It's a matter of will the bosses let him kind of deal there. So I know he wants to. So that's going to be the thing there. Does SmackDown open with Lesnar? I know old Sean Ross Sapp, Millennium Meltzer. I know he confirmed it. I am.
You want to look that up while I get another question set up?
Yeah, I am pulling up Patreon right now.
Okay, all right, we're going right to the source.
Schedule. He is scheduled to kick off the show with Roman Reigns. Yes.
All right, cool. So top of the hour, we'll see Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns in there. Chris, we have some questions about NXT Halloween Havoc coming up this Tuesday, right before Halloween. I'm going to jump into this one. Steven goes, who will be the Grim Reaper for Halloween Havoc? They've teased a return of a dark character.
Yeah.
They've had like a grave being dug up. There's a lot of different choices. Some saying Elias, some saying LA Knight. Well, LA Knight's already the show. I believe it could be David Boy Smith. Our very own Rick Ucchino has gone out there and said it's Paige. This could be Paige's big in-ring return. They've teased a return with this, that this is a back from the dead scenario. Halloween Havoc, what a scenario. If it was Paige, that would be the biggest. That'd be the biggest surprise they could go with. She's still under contract with WWE, has been out of action now for years with an aggravated neck injury, which put her on the shelf years ago. Before that, not even 30 years old. I hope she could have some type of nice send-off. And if they did want to have her in a controlled space, not on the road, but in a controlled environment where they could limit the amount of things she could do physically, it would be at the WWE Performance Center and on NXT.
Yeah, her contract is scheduled to be up in June, though. So that's another interesting fact to tie into things there, that it's coming up in about 8 months. I thought it was originally maybe going to be Shotzi Blackheart, maybe, even though she got drafted to SmackDown. Maybe they had changed plans, but now with the PW Insider report, I would love for it to be Paige, but now I am on just putting two together. I honestly think it's Elias. The gimmick makes sense with what he did with the digging his own grave, tombstone and everything, and then all of a sudden they just kind of forgot about it, like Tony. Hey, forget about it. But I think it's gonna. Right now I'm leaning towards Elias right now.
Trying to get some more questions here. You guys are pumping a bunch of these at us. You got one right there you want to pull on?
I got one right here. Okay. Mr. James King. What do you think about Bianca the Boss, Naomi, and Ember Moon becoming the female nation of domination?
James, we're not. We say this every single week, and we will answer the question. This isn't like, can you approve my fantasy booking contest? Like, so a lot of people do this. Like, I have this idea. Do you think this thing will happen on television? Like, I like that isn't a news or a question, but I can see what you're saying. It'd be something special. They've done female groups before. They haven't done them in a while. They certainly need more female tag teams for sure, for certain. I would say that. I mean, because the women's tag belts are the least consistently promoted title in terms of just sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. So I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, and that's another guess a lot of people have on this mystery figure. It could be Ember Moon reincarnating herself, because she's always been in that losing streak lately, and says that it's time for some changes.
Here's a question, Jamie Salmons. Do you think Tommaso Ciampa, who will defend the NXT championship against Braun Breaker, aka Rex Steiner, do you think he may lose the title and be brought up to the main roster with Gargano as a tag team? They did this before. Gargano, I believe, isn't going anywhere. He's chasing after the North American title. Tommaso Ciampa has expressed interest in just staying with WWE in general. And staying in there. There was some talk that, he only wanted to be an NXT guy for a while. He expressed that when he was coming off of a neck injury and didn't want to go on the road nearly as much. He clarified in an interview with our very own Ricocchino. He's like, I want to open up. I'm a lot more open to this than I was before. I'm not changing what I said. I like NXT, but I'm not going to say no to wrestling on Raw or SmackDown. I'm not going to say no to SmackDown. I'm not going to say no to a match A, B, C, D with all these big name people that are fantastic on those shows. Yeah. So options are a lot more open for Ciampa. Does Ciampa lose the title? It feels 50-50. It doesn't feel like a given thing that he gets out of the show coming up on Tuesday with the title. A good reason to maybe check out NXT 2.0 if you haven't done it already. Yeah,
and cheap plug for Lost in the Mid-Card this week. We discussed it, myself and Matt Black, and we both get the feeling that it is literally 50-50. We both see a situation where Braun Breaker wins the title on Tuesday.
You always want that, though. You always want it like just right. When you get to a build, you always want the sense of, who could win it?
That rocket is firmly planted up his ass.
I do think I expect to see a little bump in viewership this week. So, I'm not saying it's going to skyrocket or double its viewership, but I do think you'll see more people checking it out because they've built to something. So something to be said for that. Steven goes, how many title changes do you think we see at Bound for Glory? I could see them flipping the whole show. I could see them doing a whole bunch of different things on this.
I predicted every title to change except for the women. I said Deanna was going to beat Mickey. Matt, my co-host on Lost in the Mid-Card, predicted Mickey to win. We both were consensus on Christian losing to Josh Alexander. Little iffy on the tag titles. I picked Bullet Club to beat Finn Juice and the Good Brothers. He picked the Good Brothers, so that's going to be one to look at. Inspiration is interesting. Do you give them the titles right away with no match ever in Impact Wrestling? You almost got to, because you put them in the spot right now. So I think you do. And then, of course, the X Division is going to be changed anyways because it was vacated due to Option C. What do you think, Kev?
I think a new champion at the top of the card would be interesting and compelling. I think Josh Alexander, and I'll give you a little bit more of an insight. I work with AAW Pro.
Yeah. I was just going to ask if he's wrestled for that.
Yes, he wrestled an hour-long draw for us against Fred Yehi.
That's right.
60-minute, hour-long draw. One of the best matches I have ever seen live, and this is just a few months ago. And there was this sense when he just came in and did this most recent loop for AAW. I worked backstage for them as on interviews and producing different things. And there was this sense in the locker room of like, oh, this guy's another level now. He was always like right there. But when you see someone super dialed in, where they're at the top of their game, and I've seen him before, but I've never seen him, first off, physically look this good, wrestle this good, this great, have so much poise on the microphone. This is a completely different Alexander, almost the same way where you saw Drew McIntyre really come into his form a few years ago. He'd always been there, but there was just something where it clicked into another gear. I think Alexander is the guy. I think you can make him your world champion. And if there's any naysayers, he's a guy who can definitely prove them wrong with the title And he could prove them wrong by winning it at the same time.
A lot of casuals are going to be like, how is he in this situation? But look at the body of work he's done just on Impact alone in the past year, ever since Ethan Page left the company. I mean, the North was the dominant tag champions. They had that belt for over a year. Once Ethan Page left and Josh Alexander started wrestling some X Division matches and so on and so forth, man, he put on some classics. So if you have the subscription or pay that $8, go back and watch some of those pay-per-views, because there are some classics right there.
It's worth noting, AEW is this overarching thing now on what Impact does. You've now had 2 champions in a row at the top of your show that are not on your show, they're not technically in your roster. Kenny Omega, now Christian Cage. Is Cage going to drop this title that soon? Is that something that AEW wants? AEW, you do business with them. They have say over the top title in your company. They do it now in AAA in Mexico. Is this something where AEW says, no, we don't want our guy dropping a title to your guy, even though it's your title on your pay-per-view? I don't know if that's something that All Elite Wrestling would benefit from, but at the same time, they've been able to have this partnership for a while. And has an AEW guy gotten a big win, a big loss to an Impact wrestler? No. I mean, they did the 6-man where they had the Elite come in, and it was a 6-man, and AEW guy won. And AEW guy beat Rick Swan, and then the AEW guy won. That's got to play into all of this? Yeah,
but I think that's why Christian Cage is in this instead of Kenny Omega. I think they're taking the title off of Cage rather than having Omega get pinned.
But I mean, you can't help but not talk about that, right?
Yeah,
you can't help but not bring that up.
Yeah, but I think just the work that he's done since Ethan Page has left the company has solidified that he's winning the title on tomorrow night.
I just had a bug on my hand. I have a touch screen, and I literally touched the bug and smeared it all over. So I'm gonna have to use some hand sanitizer.
Enjoy the dinner.
Gross. All right. Do we have any more questions we can wrap up here with? I don't want to leave anyone hanging.
Let's go one last one right here. Tyron in the chat. What are you guys' thoughts about Survivor Series?
Survivor Series is going to feel like a bigger show, obviously, than last year, as many things that WWE are doing are going to feel bigger than they were last year, because you're going to have fans there. Yeah. I know that feels like a redundant question, but that is going to be the WWE MO, I think, probably even for the next year and a half. You're going to have things that feel bigger. WrestleMania coming up in Texas is going to feel way bigger than the last 2 WrestleManias, bigger than it was in Tampa when they had, capacity restrictions and all those different things. Survivor Series is going to be the same thing. It's going to be in New York City. It's going to be at the Barclays Center. The participation of The Rock is up in the air. They did market this at Crown Jewel as Raw versus SmackDown, so we are going to get the traditional matches of an 8-man, but I don't think that's going to be the central part of it. I do think the Survivor Series, we could say the last time it was in front of live fans, I'm sitting in my Survivor Series 2019 chair, was fantastic. That was one of the best pay-per-views, top to bottom, that WWE's done in the past few years. You throw that on with some other good shows they've had in the last, the pandemic era, where some of them were way better than people expected. Survivor Series 2019, when you had all 3 brands going at it, that was a really wildly satisfactory show. I was there live. I loved it. And you have a hot show. You have a hot crowd in New York City. They've done some stuff in New York City. That Madison Square Garden SmackDown was an example of an added electricity to what they do. WWE feeling they need to do more in a big city. I think they'll be motivated. I think you'll get something good. I don't want to write this show off. I know sometimes we write off week to week Raw and SmackDown. Oh, why are they doing this? But you look at Crown Jewel, you get to the destination, you get to the big show. Everyone gives their best effort, top of the board. I'm not just including the people in the ring. I'm saying production, creative, everybody. I think we're going to get something at Survivor Series. It's going to be really satisfying for casual and hardcore fans alike.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
I'm not a fan of champion versus champion. I'm a fan of, obviously, your traditional 5-on-5 and making that Raw versus SmackDown on both the men and the women's sides. I'm not really a fan of...
I didn't mind it last year. That Drew McIntyre Roman Reigns matches, easily one of the best matches they did in the Thunderdome.
You just had the draft. Why don't you set up new feuds within brands and have those matches take place?
It is weird that they do brand versus brand when you just shift. You just shifted everything.
Yeah.
If they did a brand versus brand thing a little bit further into the rosters now being cemented with new combinations and stuff like that, I think that'd be a little bit more compelling. I don't mind and also they could change course. They could go into Survivor Series and be like, all right, we're going to do a brand versus brand thing here, but all right, in the other tag match that we constantly feature, the 4-on-4, right? The classic Survivor Series elimination.
Yeah.
We're going to do that between two feuding teams or something like that.
Yeah, I like the 10-man tag also with elimination. That's always good. Let's just keep the elimination matches brand versus brand, but keep the title matches, within your brand, because you just got new faces in new places. I just rhymed on not on purpose there, but I that's just my opinion.
People asking, is AEW live tonight? No, that is recorded. As far as I understand, that is recorded.
Yeah, it was recorded during Dynamite on Saturday.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for checking out everything we do here on the channel. Freestyle Friday. We ask a lot of questions. We go a little bit longer. If you enjoyed this, and you're just joining us live now, don't be afraid to scroll back. Scroll back and watch the whole episode. Check everything we're doing. Make sure those notifications are on. Bing! And follow us on the YouTube. All right. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help us march past 22,000 subscribers. All right. Go ahead and do that now. If you haven't done already, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast channel as well. Available on Spotify or Apple. If you can't watch the shows, you can listen and watch them on demand. Later on tonight, we'll check in with Smack Talk. Dutch Mantel will be on with us after SmackDown, talking about the new roster and where it is going, and Crown Jewel and his take on that. Monday nights, we have Vince Russo, bro. Covering Monday Night Raw. Uncharted, our weekly interview with wrestling stars of the past. We have a pretty big one coming up here with Adam Baum, going to be on the show coming up on Tuesday. So we literally have content for you nearly every weeknight. Every weeknight we have a show. Plus, we have the top story of the day every week at weekday afternoon. That's what this is. So check out our content. We literally have content nearly 5 days a week. A lot of time. We have hours of stuff for you to consume all the time. And if you want to check me out at wrestling events, I'm going to be at AAW Pro, the Jim Lynam Memorial Tournament, two-night tournament. I want my King of the Ring in 2 nights. Well, we're giving it to you. At the Berwyn Eagles Club, the world-famous Berwyn Eagles Club, coming up on October 29th and 30th. And then we'll also have Hell Hath No Fury with Thunder Rosa from AEW on that Saturday afternoon, October 30th. Get your tickets at aawpro.com. That is aawpro.com.
You can find me on Lost in the Midcard podcast, dropping every Thursday, and myself and fellow Sportskeeda writer Matt Black been going at it for almost 7 years now. We're almost on our 7-year anniversary. Crazy to think we've been doing it that long, but you can find us on the podcast side of things, Spotify, iTunes, any of that. Just search for Lost in the Midcard. Find the new feed as we switch to anchor.fm. You can listen through anchor.fm as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also on the YouTube, we do the video version of it as well. This week, we gave our Crown Jewel predictions. I went perfect, baby. And we also gave our Bound for Glory predictions for tomorrow night's show and everything in between.
All right, thank you guys so much. Don't forget to check us out at sportskeeda.com. Do the most important thing. Not bitching about your fantasy booking not being on television. Are they going to do this combination in my head that I have of these wrestlers? I like you guys. Don't worry. Calm down. Just take a breath.
Put on your cape.
Put on your cape. You got to fasten it. Even if the cape
fasten the cape.
You got to fasten the cape. Fasten your cape. All right? And don't let anyone judge you if you're wearing a cape. If you can pull off the cape, do it. All right?
At the club.
Enjoy. You just messed me up at the end. Tell them what they got to do, Jeremy.
Enjoy wrestling. Yeah.
Tell them. Talk to them.
Let me talk to you.
Talk to them.
Yeah.